configuring dual output. That's like the number one favorite thing. And with that, we're live.
Oh, roll high and subscribe.
Roll high and subscribe. Welcome back. Let's talk lore. I'm Spencer. This is Chris. Um, Tonight, I wanted to. Something funny happened today. Well, actually, Monday when you were DMing,
Yeah.
you I had passed the baton of being the forever DM, which I'm very excited to receive back at some point if we ever get out of this thing.
I
Um,
will I will throw you guys there in a random teleporter accident to get you back DMing.
it's so funny. Um, but I would say that I had we're creating this campaign as we play it, and hopefully
Hmm.
um, we're going to carry on and everything. So we want to make sure that from DM to DM there are certain communications that we need to put in place as we DM, which is cool. I like that. It's an interesting element to what we do. You're like, all right, Spencer, what? And specifically on Monday night, you were like, Spencer, what's the date?
Well,
And
the
my mind exploded.
so like the world in my mind is still yours, and there's all this lore that I know you have built, you have thought of, and all these creations. I just have this little pocket. And so when we're talking about it, we were talking, I forgot, it was about an item or someone being old or how old was something. And I was trying to give a date, and we didn't have any discussion of that before in the 3 years of playing the game or all
Right.
of our talks. And I knew that you might have something that you created. So like it
I
that for me, it doesn't break immersion, it doesn't break anything. It's like going to the source of me asking the person who's going to know the answer of your campaign.
I was thinking about that, like not I wouldn't say all the time, but when I was
Yeah.
between um, sessions and thinking about playing and everything, which is I guess all the time. Uh, I was thinking like, what date would it actually be? Now I gave a horrible answer. I was like, oh, we'll just relate it to like the Kings, or, post low. But then I thought to myself, okay, when you think of a date, everyone always thinks of Christ, right? BC and AD, because you have to have
Mhm.
2 points in order to actually be able to.
Or you need
Um,
you need 1 point
right,
to a defining mark, a
one
defining
point,
mo
yes,
one moment.
right.
Yeah.
Um, and so I started to think, okay, how can I relate this to our campaign?
Hmm.
And I like dwarves. The bad guy is Agoth Doomhand's a dwarf, and I had created his character using dwarvish language, and I guess the Celtics and the dwarves somehow relate in real world. I don't know how that works, but there's a lot of Celtic religion in there. But there's a lot of dwarf hints of dwarvish in the actual campaign that we're creating,
Hmm.
like Undravan. That is dwarvish, taken from like the Lord of the Ring, Tolkien, and
Hmm.
whoever else has added to it. Because I don't think he actually created dwarvish. So they just
I don't know.
like made it work without AI. This was like
Right.
in the 80s or 60s or whatever, maybe even before that. They were like, what would it sound like? We have the Elven language, but like, what would the. So they made their own thing. And so Undervan is the world that we're in. That word means skull. And so I was thinking, okay, well, maybe we'll do a play on that. What would have happened in the world that everyone in the world would say, okay, this is
Like
the this is a breaking
this
point
is
in
a
time.
moment.
Yeah, this is the breaking point in time. We're going to start counting up now.
Hmm.
And I thought the moon, and like I've been thinking about like how am I going to? I want to bring you guys to space. I wanted there to be a little hook. So now I know that whenever you guys ask for the date, I can start writing these things down, and you guys are going to think about the moon. And so what I decided to do was I said, what is a white ore? They didn't have a word for moon. So what's
Hmm.
white raw ore in Dwarvish, which essentially would be the moon. and it was what was it? It was Meath Meath something
You
like in
said,
Meath Kuhn Meath Kuhn Meath Myth
here it is.
Mythzund.
Yeah,
So Meath, I think it's pronounced Meath, like the Mithril
yeah.
in that Frodo had, but it's
Hmm.
Mythzund, which means um, white
White ore.
white ore. Yeah, raw ore,
And
right? Or white, white ore.
Doomsund is
Yeah,
dark ore.
and then Dune was dark. So
Yeah,
like pre moon and post moon. And the interesting thing about that, when I decided, I was like, okay, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
Now I'm sitting here like, and this is what I want to discuss with you, and I'm gonna go ahead and click our new
Tangent alert.
random tangent alert because we're getting off topic here. What what would have happened there in our world? Now, I don't necessarily want it to relate to the overall campaign theme and story arc
Right.
per se. There can be hints of it throughout. I feel like going to the moon might just be um, its own
Just cool adventure.
side quest that has like
Yeah.
an act or two. You
What
know.
the as far as my knowledge goes as a character or as a player, going to the moon is linked to the was it Struzzel? The green
Yeah, the
Struzzel?
Strezzle calling.
The Struzzel colonies on the moon, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely mind flayers on the moon.
Yeah. Yeah, Mind Flayers on the moon. And I know there's some connection with Sprock and something else there that we'll have to figure out and go to the moon for.
Yeah.
That's my assumption.
Um,
So if we know there's Mind Flayers on the moon. So you're saying what would bring the moon there? What would that point be?
right. I feel like the mind flayers settled on the moon maybe before it arrived, or maybe they settled on it after. I don't think that's, but like,
Well, how did the
yeah,
moon arrive? I
was it
think that's
divine intervention?
was it the Mind Flayers?
Did they? Is it not really a moon? You know,
Is it
or
a ship?
is it a Death Star without a Death Star ray or whatever? Um,
And part of their colony, as soon as they got here, fled to the planet with the vital, important part of it that doesn't let that ship work anymore, that no one knows how to build.
that's hilarious. I think like someone wrote, "I can't hear you." Yes, you can. Turn on your volume. Um, I think like maybe so like you don't necessarily have to have so like okay, we know that the world we're playing in is flat. Well, as
Ish.
a flattish. We haven't determined quite yet. I was trying to write this campaign and like have the setup. I'm trying to get like the world explained, like the setting,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to say it doesn't have to be determined right now. I
Right.
have put the image out there that it's flat in
Mhm.
like the photos and everything, but it's
Yeah.
really up to the players and the DM at the moment to decide that. This could be similar to the moon. Like,
Hmm.
we don't necessarily have to have a reason why it came. Does it
But
need to
there's
be
a
God
time,
oriented? Or
no.
can it be
Yeah.
species? You know?
Well, that lore will develop when it will.
Yeah,
And
and
I
because
think that goes into what we're talking about. It's like lore coming up on the fly. It's like something randomly happening in the game, and we need to figure some large world idea out. We don't need to solve it now, but we can figure it out later.
yeah, I feel like also like lore on the fly like that just like a little. I wouldn't say it's an epiphany because who knows if it's really like a great idea, but um, now we can say uh, what was it? Like DZ versus
And
and like
MZ,
that'll mean and that adds to a different layer
yeah,
of a little more detail like you were saying last week's episode about details like that's really cool. um
yeah. Well, it gets the players thinking about like, oh, what does that mean? Why was that such a big important idea. And now we're going to find someone to kill a time dragon to travel back in time to find out what that was.
Yeah, and it's funny. I made this random tangent alert for
Hmm.
you, but I find that I'm just using it on myself because here we go. Because here we go. Um, I feel like Agoth Doomhand, um, like would he have known about the moon? Was that going to be something about the moon? And developing the plot of it, I feel like
Well, do you want his, because you haven't said when that happened, when all of his stuff happened with the
that's what I was
gods.
trying to say. So
Like, is that the moment? Is that like maybe so I don't think we've said if we look up in the sky and see the moon, what do we see? We haven't looked up yet.
right, and when but
So
you have said there's a moon.
yeah.
The moon is peering through the house right now. Like
Oh, the
we
light, the moonlight.
yeah, where
Yeah.
we stop, guys, where we stopped, where Chris asked me this
Oh yeah, I forgot
question
that.
was like when 15 werewolves came out. He was like, "Oh yeah, by the way, they attack. You're getting swarmed. What's the date?" And I was like trying to figure out my next move, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, what? What a ridiculous question, but awesome." Um, and you know,
Okay, so that means that the moon, but that's not a defining light amount. So the moon could be dark now compared to what it was before.
it could be anything. It could be really anything.
Yeah.
All you
Like
know is that
like
for whatever
I
reason,
I
yeah,
said moonlight and so it's whatever. It could be like a darker shade of moonlight. So it could be something related to Doomhand and the skulls of like it turned from a normal bright like a full moon like we would have here on Earth into something that's dimmed
yeah.
because
Was it
of
like that?
some
And yeah,
yeah.
that's
Like the
the.
breaking of the skulls like happened on the moon or something.
So I've learned as a DM that when this epiphany happens, you don't have to explain everything. Like that's a really cool idea, Chris. You just had. What if the moon was just Dunzun or Dunzun the whole time, and it was just very hard to see, and then something happened and it lit up. Maybe the mind
Mm,
flayers went in there and pushed a button and
turns
the thing turned,
yeah.
or like maybe there was a god intervention, or like maybe there's a battle on the moon that is like just being it's like a people are fighting with like lights, let's just say, and
Well,
it's just
there's
you know
there's a battle of Warforged on the moon, and the moonlight is not reflecting from the moon. It's from all the dead Warforged bodies
yeah
that aren't decaying.
it's just a graveyard.
Yeah, and that's the reflection because the stone behind it absorbs all the light.
Yeah, and I'm like I think I'm good enough. I think I've leveled up in the DMing because way back when I was not okay with like letting I was holding onto the reins a little bit too hard and not letting the group like that's a story that I want the group to
Figure out.
figure out. Like I will get you there by putting dates on everything.
We we purposely gave plans to an airship or to like a spaceship to someone 100 years ago. We brought plans 100 years in the past so we'd have an airship today,
It's true.
a spaceship today. We
I'm
planned ahead for this.
the only reason why I'm not randomly tangenting you that is because it relates. It relates a little bit. Um, somewhere out there, there's a yeah. We went back 100 years, and they gave the blueprints to a plane a Strezzel colony spaceship. Yeah, that's what you guys did. You guys
Yep.
did that before we even thought about it. This is how it strings along. This is like the
No,
coolest
that's
part.
because I've been wanting to go to the moon ever since we had those images of a colony on the moon. I'm like, we're going there. I'm gonna
Yeah,
make us get there somehow.
yeah. When we do go there, I'm gonna do an entire Let's Talk lore just on figuring out what the button called gravity is on Tabletop Simulator, because when you press it, it's exactly what you think happens. Like everything,
Oh,
I'm like, this is. Can you freeze it? Can you freeze the stuff? But yeah. So
that'll be
let's
interesting.
get back. So the one
Yep.
random
That's a
tangent.
random tangent.
Yeah, here we go. I had my 3 for 3. The random tangent that I wanted to talk about real quick was, if you guys are following along with the story of Doomhand, his history with the gods is like a myth, is myth. So think like how long were the Greeks? You know, like we're still
Hmm.
talking about them. It might have been more like sooner than that, but I wanted it to be a long, long time. Like he's had a long time to make plans,
Hmm.
to decide what to do, to figure out how to kill a god. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and we can go into that story at some other time where he, like, just randomly decides to one day exercise his ability to create zombies, and it took over a town that was worshiping a specific god, and the god got weaker. Blah 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 blah.
I got ideas for you.
What I wanted to know was, how many years has it been since?
Hmm. How long would that take?
Yeah, 100 years,
No, much, much longer.
1,000 years, thousands.
I would say a couple thousand
So like when I
at
was
least.
typing it, I said hundreds of years, but I think like what is millennia? Millennia is,
I mean, hundreds of years. He's a level 20 wizard.
yeah,
Hundreds of years is not unheard of
right.
to figure out how to kill a god as a level 20 wizard. And I think,
Collecting your things,
I mean,
locating them.
so so during my random brain lore drop of the spa dragon thing, I had Doomhand knowing that dragon before Doomhand had that happen to him.
Wait, say
So
that he.
it would be within the lifespan of that dragon. So it's a
Yeah,
lifespan of a bronze dragon.
yeah. I mean something long. Um, think.
I mean,
I
here,
so
let's
so someone
let,
someone asked what who Doom and is. Uh, oh, that's hey, our number one subscriber.
nice,
He's tuned in. Um,
nice.
he's asked who's Doomhand exactly. Doomhand is, Chris, your face is off the, Doomhand
I was
is,
getting
yeah.
dice.
Oh, you're getting dice. You're getting ready to hit your random tangent, because this is still the random tangent that
Yep,
we're on.
yep.
Doomhand is a dwarf druid, or no, dwarf wizard. He had a family, and the gods came down and essentially, his family perished, and in the worst possible way, and he's out for revenge against the gods. And he has decided to start a zombie apocalypse to do so. Um,
He's the big bad, our
yeah,
original idea of who the big bad evil guy was.
yeah. And the more we play it, I feel like the more people understand his story, the more sympathetic he becomes, which is very cool. Didn't think I was
I
gonna make a
think
satanic hero, but there you
I think
go.
we're very random tangent. I think we're very close on the edge of wanting to help him like free himself from that curse.
Random tangent. Um, yeah,
But
but then again, he's not. Who knows? Um, who knows what's going to happen there? But again, so how long does a bronze?
okay. Well, or we can just say because we can say that that dragon lives for as long as we need it to live.
But it's got to be long enough where people forgot. That's what
Yeah.
So like for example, the forest we're working on, or creating, and trying to fill out the
Well,
lore for the
do you
campaign
want
book.
everyone to forget, or would you
Out
want like people who could live really long time, maybe like three or four people
so
still
so
remember?
in Lord of the Rings, it goes, um, history became myth, myth became legend,
Hmm.
right? Something like that. So I don't know how long it takes for something to become a myth. Uh, it's got to be quite a while though. How far long ago were the Greeks? That's way BC, way BC, right? So um, four, five, six. When were the Rome? I don't know. It's like 2000 BC. I have no idea.
No.
I think I don't know. I gotta look it up. But like
Well,
Christ now is
here.
what, a myth legend, right? Or whatever
Well,
it was that happened then for the AD/BC thing, like that has now become legend, right? So
there
I was like,
there's also, if something like whatever is happening right now is happening in the world, there can be something that wipes people's memories of an
sure,
incident.
for
So it
sure,
doesn't have to be
yeah,
stupidly long.
it could be anything.
So I have a
Um,
proposal for you.
yes,
Let's bring a little randomness into Doomhand. You get a D100, I get a D100. Add a zero to what we roll, add them together.
okay.
That's a date.
Wait, that's how long ago?
That's how long ago it happened. And I got my Doomhand dice.
Okay,
If you're okay with that.
yeah, that's fine.
Because that's maximum, that's 2,000 years.
73.
Okay. So 730 years for you. I got a 68. So 680.
Um,
I didn't write them.
1,410 years ago.
That's we're in year 1410.
Yes, we're in year
14,
1410. Well, hold on.
14,
But 1410 was when the moon turned on. That's
right.
the cool thing. So,
Yeah. 1410 MZ
yeah, so I don't want to make it so that the moon and Doomhand happen at the
are linked.
same are linked. So,
Okay.
what we'll do is we'll roll again for the
For when
for when the
Doomhand event happened.
no. This the 1410 is when the Doom Hand happened, because that's what we were rolling.
Oh,
That's what we were rolling
okay.
for. Now we're
Okay.
gonna roll for the date.
For
And how do we
when the
do?
moon happened.
Yeah. So how we're gonna roll for how far away we are now from the event of the moon,
Oh,
and
so
we'll
that was,
shift the Doom Hand date back or forth depending on that, right?
yeah. So Doomhand was 1,410 years from now is when that
Yeah,
happened.
in the past.
Okay. So yeah. All right.
So
Let's see. Let's see
now we're gonna go
for
for
when the moon turned on.
we're rolling for Myth Zun.
Mithsoon.
Yeah,
Okay.
that is probably the nerdiest thing ever.
Ooh.
I got 14,
I got a
140.
I got a 22.
So 200. So
So that's not that bad.
no, so this is
That's like
360 years
300.
ago.
So we're right now it's 360 MZ and Doom
360
Hand.
MZ, yeah. And Doom
So wait, hold on.
Hand, yeah, Doom Hand was. This is so cool. Like I can't wait
Is
to figure this out here.
1050 whatever the other one was.
Yeah, 1050 Dunzun.
DZ.
DZ. That's so cool. We just made our own. And that, guys, is how you make a time.
Hmm.
So, like, um, to get back on it, random cool lore happens. Let it happen. Let it develop. Talk to a friend, Chris.
Yep.
Um,
And it's okay to
yeah, not.
retcon stuff if you think of a really cool idea after the session.
Oh yeah, like I was like, yeah, let's make it post Lololo, pre Lololo,
Yeah.
and then you're like, well, how old is Lololo? I'm like, oh my god, what are these questions? I want to fight the werewolves. Um, Yeah, and I feel like it's hard to get away from that BCAD thing because I was trying to think like, well, is there anyone there that was there for the beginning? Like it can't just be like it can't be 17, it can't be like 3,000-year old.
Yeah.
It's got to have you have to have an event of some kind, and that's cool.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty happy with not knowing what that is and letting the players
Well,
decide.
being 360 years, so there are like probably a decent number of people who remember that event, but not everyone. Not humans, not a lot of the other races on there.
Oh
But
yeah, not
but some of the longer living races, a lot of those people would still remember that event.
there's going to be a different time period, and we don't have to do it now for those in the Underdark
Mm.
because
Oh, they don't have the moon.
they will be able to tell.
Oh my goodness, this is gonna be so.
Yeah, it's really cool. How cool is this? How cool is this? You get a package that has an expiration date on it, and it says MZDZ, and you get another package that has another expiration date,
That's something entirely
same
different.
time, but it's coded differently
Yeah,
because they have
they
different
use
senses of
something.
time. They use something else.
Yeah, they
That's
they didn't. For them, that wasn't when the moon turned on.
yeah. Have a feeling like it, and before we finish the session of I'm just going to give myself another random tangent. I have a feeling like, and I read this, I forgot where I read this. I was doing a lot of research in the upper dark, middle dark, and lower dark, and like the distances and what's
Hmm.
below the lower dark. Like, can you go further down there? Um, and my idea was like, this is a flat world. You
Right.
got your middle dark, your lower dark, and like now you're at the core or whatever that
Hmm.
is. They were saying that the Shadow Realm is located below that,
Love.
and that's
Okay.
where things get all reality and things don't make any sense, which is why I put the reality
Skull down there.
skull down there. And it's possible that that time period might correlate with the the breaking up of the Power Skull from the original
Mm.
Doom Hand. Like the
Okay.
skull
I see
broke
it.
up,
Yeah.
and because um,
Yeah.
and maybe that rift in time space, because that's going to be sick. When guys get down there, it's going to be like you guys are going to be walking, and then I'm going to be rolling and clicking on a completely different map. You guys are headed in the same direction. It's just that the NPCs might change,
Yeah.
like they're
Like we go to talk to someone and we ask them one question and then a completely different person is answering.
right, or it's like I'm like having a conversation with you, and all of a sudden you turn into like an elephant, but you're
Yep.
still same storyline, or like, whatever.
You're
Um,
gonna have fun.
yeah, or you're the same exact storyline, but you're really angry. It's gonna be sick. Um, yeah, so random moments of lore, awesome. Don't need to flush them out. Let the players flush them out. That's my recommendation. But yeah, that was an insane question you asked me in the middle of a fight. What date is it, by the way? That's hilarious. I
Well,
wonder, like, has anyone else been asked what date it
oh,
is?
now I remember why. It was it wasn't during the fight. It was when you were searching and you found the wine.
Oh, that's right.
And I was trying to find out how old the wine was.
Stale. Yeah, that's really cool. So right now it's 1,410. No,
That
it
that's that's how long ago
yeah,
from
it's
today?
360 MZ,
Yes.
and Doomhand was 1050 DZ.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Well,
So
and now you set the also a very important plot moment in the story. The date or the year when Doomhand's thing happened.
how
How
um
old is Doomhand?
How
That's
crazy is it that it's 1052? That's like a pretty good number.
mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks for joining. Let's talk
Well,
lore.
roll high and subscribe.
Roll high and
Uh,
subscribe.
Monday, you get to see the conclusion of the fight at Lavigny Castle. No, Lavigny Chateau.
Oh yeah, Chris. We decided to pause mid
Mid
battle.
combat.
Yeah. So
Well,
I think I'm all right. I know
well,
I'm like
we're
not doing very well, but I'm all right. You know.
we're hoping the other guys are going to be able to join and hear the cries for help and the howls
Yeah.
and screams and able to jump in.
I just want to let you know I have another player character that can just jump in,
Okay,
and that he might just I don't know.
we'll see. We'll see what
I
happens.
wonder what his backstory is gonna be. How did you get here? Oh, I was just wandering around. Check out that moon.
I was following the moon and I fell in this hole.
That was funny. But yeah.
Oh.
Um, cool.
Until Monday, when I get to kill Kali Lefort
Collie's got some,
viciously with a werewolf.
listen, we've got a good group, so hopefully,
Yeah,
we don't all go for the treasure and leave me to die. But who knows? You never know. I got a huge sentinel out there, so
yeah. Oh, that was a really cool spell. I love it.
yeah. Also, does anyone know how to play Dungeons and Dragons in space? Because with zero gravity, I guess like I guess what I'm asking is a mechanic that's not as boring as saying you got to hold on to something, you know, or like we'll figure it out. I'm sure that someone's done something.
We could do something with Willy Wonka's burping.
Oh God, the spaceship is gonna be insane.
It's
It's gonna be
you're
insane.
floating 10 feet every round until you burp, and every round that you bonus action burp, you can drop 50 feet.
Yeah, you can control it. You have 20 feet. You can use them however you want, up, down,
Yeah.
and then you have to take bludgeoning damage or something. So we'll figure it out. Um, that's gonna be insane gameplay and like a spaceship travel. I've already started thinking about spaceship travel, and just in case you guys want to go underwater, I've also been thinking about submarine travel. This is
Well,
another random tangent I just buzzed myself on, but
well, before you start going into all of that, I think we need to, for one of the next Let's Talk Lores, talk about a very important topic. What the skulls are going to do when I shove one up Stag's nose.
oh, that is 100% what we're going to talk about next week. I will have certain ideas,
Okay.
and just a just an intro. I'm trying to figure out how to write the lore for the. I mean, the green skulls. They affect the green skull, the red skull, the blue skull. Every character, every player has a different skull that he's drawn to. So that
Mhm.
drawing helps sort of push the issue and bring for me I thought it was just an easier way of like getting the characters together at the very beginning for a common goal.
Hmm.
um, and we but each time you find one, there's a relationship between, for you example, you're the green player, the green skull
Hmm.
and the green player and the blue green player's characters. You cut out the skull gets put into your head, physical, uh, like a crystal,
Hmm.
can gets put in your head. So um, powering you. So there's going to be a death rolls, of course, for this, but like uh, I'm just trying to figure that out. And you're going to have options. You can
Hmm.
find, and this is another one of these lore things that I haven't really mapped out. Maybe I don't want to. Um, you can cut it out. You can put it in with magic. You can shove it in. You can you know go under an operation. You can try to, eat it. You can do all types of things to it. There's more than one way to skin a cat, so let's just say. But once it's in,
Well, well,
there's only one way to skin that cat, though.
I do have an NPC who is very versed in medical techniques and odd medical techniques, who is um, one of the designers of the device, uh, and has knowledge on how to do the skull and the brain. So maybe if you guys return his wife, you might get something that will save Stag's life.
Oh, really?
You
Evil?
might get you might get a notebook of notes to help you with whatever that device is that you're talking about.
Hmm. I had some ideas about that too. We can go into it next time. But we created this mastermind. I'm trying to look up his name here. Every now and then, for those of you who don't know, we create NPCs for our like important NPCs for our
Mm.
campaign. Um, and what's the guy's name? I'm clicking. Oh, Doctor Cardigan Boondai. He might be able to assist you guys if if you need medical advice.
The Doctor in Trigard?
Yeah, that's the one that we
Yeah, yeah,
have to rewatch
yeah.
his
It was that Booter's doctor?
Boondai.
I don't
Car-
I
Cardigan
Dungeon.
Boondai um, is a let's just real
tangent
quick.
alert on both
Doom.
of us.
Yeah.
On both of us.
Bam, bam. Cardigan Boondai is uh, he's trying to figure out how to get rid of the zombie disease.
Okay.
So
He might help.
he's well versed in brain and body. Is there something in the brain that was causing the zombies? Something, so on and so forth. We can do that
Hey,
while building next time. But
a notebook of notes and a doctor who knows how to do brain surgery. Stag is in good hands.
yeah. But now's our final goodbye. Thanks for tuning in. Let's talk lore. If you want to hear us talk about something, please drop in the comments. If not, next week we're 100%, or 2 weeks, we're going to 100% get into the powers of the
Skulls.
skulls. That's important.
Okay. I have
Until
some
then,
ideas.
yeah, Chris is going to be DMing Monday, Agoth Doomhand Skulls of Power,
Mm.
8 p.m.
Watch Spencer's character die. Horrible, horrible death. I'm very excited about that.
He's going to die 1050, no, 360 MZ death of,
The,
and when the characters die now, you can say 360 MZ
whatever that.
Rena,
Well,
RIP.
now you know what I'm gonna ask. What month and day is it? Or if there months?
I don't know. I have to do some research. Like, is the world
Next
actually
time on
flat?
Let's Talk Lore.
Is the world flat? And if so, what do the months look like?
Oh,
Absolutely.
happy day.
That's
This will be
hilarious.
fun.